volume road grant that we're pursuing. Roadside swale and ditch work was completed along Gozel and Rock Hill roads. They fixed some deteriorating inlet on Heimbach Road, some brick and mortar and a repointing there. And road mowing season has begun, so again, you're gonna see the guys out there on the, mowing the swales on the tractor and in the parks and sewer plants. Aside from that, there's some equipment service on the road mower, the F350 and the Dodge 550. That was all done in-house. And that's everything for Public Works. I believe that brings us to you, Norm?
Yep. Florida Marshal.
Do we have the water sewer plant? Is
Oh, I'm sorry,
Miller?
is
Matt Lane?
Matt here?
I didn't see him.
I didn't get a report
I haven't
either,
heard from him.
so,
He's been
okay,
busy.
I will follow up with that.
Maybe the rain's got him busy. And what was the fire marshal's report, Sean?
Yes, Nate stopped in yesterday. He has made some progress with 3 Dog Garage, as you know. There's also a couple of pending investigations. There was a vehicle fire in front of the fire department over the last weekend. So he's going to be completing some investigatory work for that for the insurance company. Aside from that, not much.
Perfect.
Okay, we've updated the engineer's report for the month of May. You should have a copy in front of you. I can certainly answer any questions. Really, the only thing going on is 3 Dogs moving forward. Sean kind of touched on some fire marshal stuff. Plans are at a point where they can be recorded, but the applicant is working through not only the recording of the plans, but setting up a meeting with the Conservation District for a kickoff meeting. Excuse me. And then I'm just trying to secure like financial security paperwork, things like that. And then planning should be able to, project should be able to move forward. I would expect realistically a month, month and a half before you see anything going on out there. And then they'll probably be calling it that.
You can see that note here for the Potosi, is that not on here? Oh, okay.
I typically don't put like litigation stuff on there.
Okay. I thought we were going to reach out to DC, just a status update.
I did send in a copy of the plan to address.
Oh, did you? I must have missed your thing, because I was talking about it today, I didn't see
Yeah, I
it.
did copy everyone on the board. The plan is there, and it, I talked with Sean a little bit beforehand. It really just simply addresses that issue.
Okay.
Steve Heller talked about possibly wanting to expand the scope a little bit while we're there. Does it make sense?
Great.
That kind of thing. And I said, that's fine, just let me know what you may or may not want to do. But otherwise, what I sent to you would address just the Potosi issue.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome.
So again, that's really it for you.
Perfect. That was uneventful. Planning Commission? All right. Yeah, Planning Commission?
Yeah, pretty much everything we did last month, we moved forward to you for your new business this month. The ASA applications from the Owens for your review and approval. Stormwater ordinance amendment for ASA approved farms to be exempt from the stormwater ordinance. And also the zoning ordinance amendment to remove the neighborhood lotting off of RE.
Pleasure.
And as for the Central Perk Valley Regional Planning Commission, they meet this Monday at 7 at the Trapboro Hall.
I think I'll be going with you this month, Bob. Parks and Rec?
We haven't met since you guys met last, so there's nothing to report.
No new business. Okay. New business, ASA applications from Miss Owens, for her, 1054 Perkiomenville Road, also for 1126 Perkiomenville Road. This is gonna have to be tabled because through the week she had called in, I spoke with her. She's been unable to locate, her paperwork for the one parcel. So I advised her, pretty much we're gonna have to walk through this process all over again. other than coming to you, I think that at the next piece, since she's made it through there, once she has that documentation, we would be able to pick this back up. That's right, right?
Yeah, I think at the next meeting, we can just vote on it, it's been tabled, so.
Pull it in, but she couldn't furnish the one from the county for me to review it, so I had just told her we would revisit it after she's gone to.
Yeah, I don't think she has to go back through the other parts though.
Okay, so we're just gonna table this here for the ASA for Miss Owens.
Do we have to take a vote for tabling, or is it, okay, I never remember that.
Stormwater ordinance for farms, basically it's for ASA. You wanna talk about it a little bit, Ms. Vicky?
Sure. This is a recommendation coming from the planning commission. So currently you have exemptions in your stormwater ordinance from the requirements to get certain permits. So what we had talked about at the planning commission level was to have an exemption for farms. It was specifically applied to farms. And farms are defined as a property that has a minimum of 10 acres, be within the township's agricultural security area, be actively used for agricultural activities, and be subject to the county conservation district requirements. There's planning requirements that you have to file with them if you have an active farm. The indication would be to exempt and to allow agricultural buildings to be added, which has a specific definition. And then any impervious coverage up to the limits in the underlying zoning district without the need for having to do stormwater planning, just strictly on farms, and that's it. But if they wanted to go over the limit, the underlying limit in the zoning ordinance, then they would have to come forward and do the stormwater planning and everything else like everyone else. So it's in a draft ordinance form. There's a couple changes that will need to be made to what you're looking at tonight. But otherwise, it's not zoning or subdivision, so it would not have to go through county planning review or anything like that. It's just something that if you wanted to move forward with, you could authorize advertisement, and we could place it on your next agenda for adoption.
So we can move forward with what it is, but you're saying there needs to be adjustments, are we still?
Yeah, there's
working
one
on
or two small changes that I have to make to it before you would adopt it, because right now it just says, it just allows the addition of an agricultural building on a farm, and we're gonna add in any impervious up to the zoning limits. It's just one little minor change that didn't get made before you got a copy of the ordinance.
Does that sound right, Bob? Is that what you guys discussed there?
Very good.
Bob? Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
Right, I make a motion to authorize the solicitor to go ahead and make those minor changes and then advertise.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 The second ordinance that you have is this is a zoning ordinance amendment. It would be to remove the neighborhood lotting from the R80 zoning district. So what this would do is remove, there are multiple references throughout the entire chapter to neighborhood lotting, and this would essentially restore the R80 district back down to what you expect it to be, which is 1 home per 2 acres. And it would get rid of the ability to cluster in that district under the provisions that were in existence at this point. This is a zoning ordinance amendment. They would have to go to the county to be reviewed prior to you being able to hold a hearing on it and adopting it. So tonight, the action would be to allow me to send this to the county for review, and then once that time period is up, I could advertise it for a public hearing for you. But we would have to give them their 30 days first to review it.
Okay.
Right, I make a motion. Yes?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to say something.
Could I ask a question on that? It's been a little out of touch with everything else going on in my life, but it's fun getting older. Does that help alleviate the concerns of the sixth group down on,
Negative.
29 now, okay.
Negative. What this does is it just affects what you can do inside of the R80. So this here is just a way that we're helping shape the township to,
I heard that
to
one
fit
house for 2 acres.
our vision for Upper Frederick moving forward here is what this is. It just removes cluster housing outside of there, brings you back into what Ms. Vicky said, basically you're gonna put a single family dwelling unit on your place here.
And that's the same as it is for R60, right? 1 house for 2.
R60 is smaller. It's 1 house per like 1.5.
In any event, the gravel pike 6 are 40 now, so this doesn't apply to them.
Right.
I thought when we moved there, it was R60, and I thought it was 1 house per 2 acres. Not that I was gonna, because we have well over 3, I wasn't, no way I was gonna put another house on it.
I'm not sure what it was when you moved here. Back then, Mr. Hanson might have been back then, supervisor back then. I just know what we were doing here has always been R80, I believe where you were on Fake Leesville there. So it didn't really, I don't think we changed him, did we?
Yeah, well, we got the notice and all that stuff, but
Yeah. So that's all. It's a good, and,
I make a motion to authorize the solicitor to send this to county for review, and then after 30 days, when we are back, to advertise it.
I second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. This one I think is me then. This is a resolution, and Peggy, I'm not sure if this is a resolution to ratify or a new resolution, but when we had approved resolution 2505 at last month's meeting to appoint Beth Keys to the zoning hearing board, I had erred, it should have been 06. However, there were 3 other resolutions, 6, 7, and 8, that were passed that evening that are okay, so this is just becoming resolution 25-09 now. So I guess it's a new resolution then?
Well, just because it has a new number, so just take it as a new one,
Okay.
since it has a new number.
Okay.
Alright, that would be a motion to pass resolution 2025-09, appointing Beth Keys as a member of the zoning hearing board.
Can I second that, or we're waiting for?
You
Someone's
just
gotta
so
move it
moved,
first.
yeah.
All right, make a
Well, he said it so
motion,
nicely.
make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-09, appointing Beth Keys as a member of the zoning hearing board.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's everything I have.
All right. Upcoming meetings, 5:15, 7 PM is the zoning hearing board. Planning commission is actually 5:27.
29.
Is it 29?
Excuse me.
29, it's a week later.
Yeah. So it's 29, so it's, planning commission's coming up, 5:29, 7 PM. Parks and Rec is gonna meet 5/27/25 at 7 PM. And the announcements are the township buildings closed Monday, May 26th for Memorial Day. But I would also want to say today, Steve Heller, our roadmaster's birthday.
No way.
So I wanted to say
He's not
that, so
here.
when he comes back, he'll know that we acknowledge him and think of him, because he is an integral part of this township. He's an amazing guy, I love that guy. And he's birthday buddies with my daughter, so. All right,
I need to speak to the board briefly in executive session following this meeting, to talk about an enforcement matter,
perfect.
so please stay.
All right, wanna make
just what you
What?
No public comment?
And the meeting?
Yeah,
I'll make a
you
move.
Go, let's do a public comment.
I don't, but there should
It's
be,
not one listed.
yeah, I don't have a public comment, but I think there should be a area for public comment at the end of the agenda.
Add that, okay.
I thought it was on here just today, I didn't see
Well,
it.
we just passed an ordinance, or a resolution designing
The agenda.
the agendas, and it has public comment front-loaded. Truthfully, public comment can be taken anytime the board solicits it, and after every item on the agenda. But we can add that there just so that the public is clear that they have an opportunity for comment.
So let's put it back in after old business.
Yeah, someone can speak up.
That's your
I
fault.
prepared the form, agenda, so I'll take the blame.
We're not paying for it.
We do have a question, since they're on the water sewer plant report was not here. We're from the Ivy Ridge community. And there's been that ongoing issue that we've just been told about this year with the sewer plant being repaired and bills and everything. I mean, we have reached out and asked for spreadsheets of what costs were, you know, how it became such in arrears that they now want to raise our bills $50 a month. We are paying $100 a month, they want to raise it another $50 a month. I mean, it's getting outrageous, you know, the billing of that.
Can I get your name, ma'am, for the record?
So-
Can you come to your podium,
If
actually?
you would
Well,
mind.
you know what, how about us three?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So we are the HOA, ladies.
Well, they know me.
If you could just identify yourselves by name for the
My
record.
name is Maria Tallarico.
And I'm Beth Knowles.
And then Jamie Lowe.
So I mean, they've reached out to us. What was his name?
Yeah.
Sean.
Sean,
Yes,
yeah.
we met with.
We met with Sean.
Okay, all right. So I mean, we're concerned with this. I've asked for spreadsheets to go through, basically what the costs were, what our expenses were, what, you know, we paid into it. We kind of want to figure out how all of a sudden there's like a $50-some thousand in debt for the sewer plant. I mean, it is owned by the township, so you're saying we're responsible for something that is owned by the township to repair it?
Yes, so this township facility is its own fund. So if you think about it, it's its own bank account, and its revenue is solely and strictly the fees that those 47 residents pay.
Right.
The issue here is that 47 residents operating one wastewater treatment plant, it's very poor economy of scales. Normally, a wastewater treatment plant would have hundreds, if not thousands, of clients paying into that. So that is why you have sort of a higher than average burden in terms of your individual monthly cost for this. As a result of that, historically, that fund has not been able to keep a very good savings account. And several years ago, there was an emergency repair that had to be performed.
Right, and why all of a sudden this year we're being told about it?
Well, I've been here since Labor Day of last year. I mean,
So you don't know?
well, I mean, this repair took place 3 years ago. What we found is that since that 3 years, the fees,
Was it August of '23 or August of '22? I thought it was August of '23.
I think it was 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in any event, the repair had to be done for your wastewater treatment plant to work and your bathrooms to operate. So the township had to make that repair. Since there was no savings in that fund to pay for it, that money was borrowed from the general fund. And your plant, again, with only 47 customers, has basically been operating at, bare, margins in terms of the revenue that's coming in. So, I mean, the fees have to go up not only to repay the general fund, because that's everybody in the township's tax dollars going in there to pay for these 47 utility customers. We have to reestablish that fund so that this doesn't keep happening in the future. Now, in that time where we are building that fund, we are looking for every possible opportunity to reduce costs or to somehow, increase the margins favorably. But there's not a lot of fat to cut right now. It costs a lot to haul that waste, to treat it, to supply it with power, and anytime a repair cost comes along, we're, just absolutely prepared for the worst in terms of trying to fund it, because I think your savings account is like $800.
We have,
What did you bring up about the 14,000?
Yeah, there's
reserve?
14,000 in reserve, and I was just wondering why that can't be used.
That 14,000 isn't reserved. I believe that 14,000 is the money, the
Future
connectivity
use.
rights that a neighboring landowner has.
oh, that's,
So it's for future
Yes.
use of the sewer,
Mm.
and that's an annual amount that that's just there, but it can't be used.
It's, what's that?
I don't believe it's theirs, it's owned by the person paying into it. Is that right?
Yeah, well, he pays for rights to basically reserve that. So as long as he wants to reserve those rights, he'll pay that. But it's not necessarily a guaranteed income stream.
Right, but that's why I'm saying that we couldn't use that money for this.
I mean, if he's paying
It's-
into it, like for
The
the
problem
rights
is
of
that-
it,
that
wouldn't he
money-
be partially responsible as well?
He is, and that money that's been paid into it in the past has been applied to this whole fund. So the 14,000 that
It is,
he's,
if you deduct the 69, you deduct the 14,000 from there, it gets to the 55,000. So I see what you're doing, it just wasn't, it wasn't itemized in 2021, 22, and 23.
But
Yeah,
another
there's a-
concern that we have though is this PICO bill that has been brought up that was not our error, not any, I mean, this was an error on the township where.
it was an
bills
error on
were being-
PICO.
Okay, error on PICO, regardless, the township didn't realize, hey, we're not getting a PICO bill for Ivy Ridge. Now, that $11,000, my understanding from our meeting was, well, now you guys have to, that needs to be paid, and we need to get that money from
Well,
Ivy Ridge residents.
we had to pay that out of the general fund again.
Okay, that's not our, but
Yes,
what I'm
it
saying
is.
is, no, because our monthly payments from your email said our monthly payments, each resident, goes into a fund to pay things like electrical bills.
Yep.
So if we've been paying our monthly bills, as we've been getting billed, that money, some of that money should have been set aside for electrical.
If the bills had been coming to the township as they should have been, the rates would have had to have been raised in an earlier year to cover that, because the
Is
forecast
this an
is.
extra bill, or what is this PICO bill?
Like they weren't billing the
The
township for
PICO bill
a year.
wasn't, so around the same time there was personnel transition last year, PICO was updating their accounts, changing account numbers, and somehow the account number was changed and this new account bill was being mailed to the physical plant address. So we got 12 months worth of bills at once when PICO sent us this. That power was used by that plant to supply,
Yeah, so
all of you.
us residents were paying monthly.
yes.
From what you told me in the email was our monthly bills are going into a fund that's split out for certain things. Understand, for maintenance, for electrical bills, for certain things to keep that running. So if we have been paying our monthly bills during this time that the township was not receiving the PICO bills, why is this 11,000 now being added to our deficit? as
Because
you
you
called it in
used
our
that
meeting?
power.
But we were paying our monthly bills, and if our monthly bills, a portion of that should have been going to the electrical bills that you weren't receiving.
Because
But those
your
invoices- but your
bills
amounts
were
don't-
artificially low because we weren't receiving that money or those bills to account for and charge enough fee revenue to cover all of the total expenses.
If you take an 11,000 bill over 12 months, it's just under 1,000 a month. Had the bills been mailed to this location, they would have been credited to your account and you would have been in a deficit a year ago.
You're telling me you went a year without receiving the bills and
Didn't
didn't
realize
take
it.
anything of it?
Ma'am, I've been here since September, I haven't been here.
So-
The township,
Well,
not
hang on,
you.
so let me
I mean, if
just
I
say,
didn't get my bill, I'd be calling PICO.
Well, we're more surprised that PICO didn't try to turn off the power.
Exactly, and I'll
They
add,
let the delinquency go that long.
that
but this isn't the
PICO,
first time this happened with your account there.
I'll also add that PICO has not charged any sort of late fees or charges for this because they admit the mistake was on their billing end. But at the end of the day, I mean, the power was used by a plant that supplied a service to those 47 homes.
So what I'm trying to understand